Here's what you've always been told. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Here's the part they leave out. What doesn't kill you gives you trauma, debt, and trust issue. You've heard it 1,000 times, probably from someone whose idea of personal growth is drinking celery juice and gaslighting themselves into believing rock bottom builds character. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Yeah, so how come you're not the Hulk by now? Let me guess. Life didn't kill you, but it slapped you with a surprise eviction, a failed situationship, and a debt-to-income ratio that could make a loan shark blush. You didn't die. Congratulations. Instead, you gain anxiety, a caffeine dependency, and the emotional range of a broken vending machine. But sure, Nietzsche, tell us more. This is your story. And it's not one of triumph. It's a user's manual for slowly unraveling while pretending everything is fine. This isn't your hero's journey. It's your cautionary tale. So sit back, hydrate with your 5th cup of iced bitterness, and let me tell you how not dying ruined your life. It began, as most tragedies do, with optimism. You were 23, fresh out of college with a degree in something completely unemployable, like strategic emotions or postmodern gender mythology in space westerns. But you were excited. You were going to change the world. You had a tote bag that said so. Then came your first job, unpaid of course, but rich in exposure. You were an intern at a startup run by a man named Trent, who believed kombucha was a leadership strategy. Every day, you sat in a windowless room called the Creativity Nook, where you brainstormed slogans for deodorant that tells your truth. One time, you pitched an idea and Trent said, "That's not on brand with our soul." You didn't die, but a small part of you disintegrated. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. No, what doesn't kill you puts you on LinkedIn, lying about valuable lessons learned from dynamic leadership environments. Ah, love. Or at least the feral fever dream you mistook for it. You met them at a rooftop poetry reading. Because of course you did. They quoted Bukowski incorrectly, wore a beanie in 78-degree weather, and said, "Capitalism is just trauma with a budget." You were in love. You were doomed. The relationship lasted 6 chaotic months, which in trauma years is roughly a decade. They once dumped you via Instagram story while still wearing your hoodie. You didn't die. You just stopped sleeping, developed a taste for regret, and wrote 17 unsent notes in your phone under the heading Clarity. Your friend said, "You'll grow from this." And you did. You grew suspicious, paranoid, expert level at reading micro-expressions for signs of abandonment. But stronger? Sure. If by stronger, you mean now physically incapable of vulnerability without sarcasm as a defense mechanism. Your next job was a real one. You got benefits, a title, and the opportunity to attend mandatory Wellness Wednesdays, where you journaled about gratitude while your boss monitored clicks per minute. You were thriving, which is a word people use when they're working 60-hour weeks, eating desk lunch with a spork, and crying in the bathroom stall between budget meetings. Then one day you got a Slack message. "Hey, can we hop on a quick call?" Your stomach knew. That's corporate for, "We're about to ruin your sense of identity with one click," and a PDF titled Separation Plan. You didn't die, but you did wake up the next morning unemployed, uninsured, and on hold with the Department of Labor for 3 hours while a whole music version of Don't Stop Believin' played ironically in the background. Stronger? Maybe. If we're measuring strength by how long someone can wear pajama pants without washing them. Desperate, you turn to the Oracle of Broken People, the self-help section. Titles like Unleash Your Inner Shark and You're Not Broken, You're Just Undervalued by the Universe beckoned. You read them all. You journaled, visualized, manifested. You did yoga next to a scented candle called Intentional Driftwood. One book told you, the obstacle is away. You read that while on hold with your landlord, trying to negotiate rent with PayPal's Pay in 4 feature. You whispered, this is not the way. Another book suggested turning failure into feedback. You tried that on your dating profile. Emotionally unavailable. Strong fear commitment. Seeking someone to validate my trauma response. No matches. Every morning, you looked in the mirror and repeated affirmations. I am abundant. I am powerful. I am capable of giving 110% to a system that gives me exposure instead of health care. And you didn't die. You just aged 10 years and 3. You became resilient, that special kind of resilience that looks exactly like apathy with better skincare. Eventually, you joined the cult of entrepreneurship. You were told a 9 to 5 was for a sheep, and that financial freedom could be yours. If you just worked 16 hours a day selling motivational mugs with your logo on them. You built a brand. You created content. You became your own boss. Then you sued yourself for emotional damages. Your most successful product was a t-shirt that said, "Rise and Wine." You sold 5 for Word to Your Mom. After 3 years, 2,000 Canva graphics, and a caffeine habit that doubled your resting heart rate, you realized your hustle wasn't grinding. It was gnawing away at your soul. You didn't die, but you now flinch every time someone says passive income. Because society tricked you into believing survival equals success. You didn't win an award. You didn't publish a memoir. You didn't even pay off your student loans. But you're here, functionally alive, technically upright, emotionally pending. People tell you to be proud. You're a fighter, a survivor. But the truth is, what didn't kill you didn't care. It just moved on to the next victim. Trauma doesn't teach. It takes. And the strength you gained, it wasn't optional. It was a last resort of a person with no escape route. And yet, here you are, still clocking in, still showing up, still making jokes on the internet like that's therapy. Maybe you are strong, but not because pain taught you something noble. You're strong because you had no choice. So next time someone hits you with, "What doesn't kill you makes you stronger," smile politely. Then reply, "Cool, so you're saying I should be shredded by now? Because I've been emotionally bench pressing hell since 2014. Let them stare. Let them get uncomfortable. Then walk away. With your trauma, your sarcasm, your debt, and your incredible ability to function under duress while laughing through the pain. You didn't die, but you definitely didn't get stronger. You got funnier. And in this economy, that's all we have left.